Hello, welcome to Local Anesthetic Podcast, your regular injection of mind-numbing local news. My name is Alex, and joining us, as always, for episode 379, is it, Rob?
Yep, that's right.
Wow. Is Rob. How are you, Rob?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Despite prior to the podcast being berated for not turning the heating on, I mean...
Rob's sitting at home in January. It's 8 degrees outside, and he hasn't got the heating on because he's working from home on his own. And I said to him, you will get sick. You've got to... Don't understand.
Alex, I've got a candle burning for light and heat. What else could you possibly want? I mean, I really have been living a Dickensian lifestyle for the last couple of months. And apart from the cholera, I've really been enjoying it.
But if you reflect back on it, if I can just say, Rob, if you reflect back on it, this would be the only year where at this time of year you have not put the heating on. You would have just had it on. You'd never have thought about it.
No.
Yeah, and that is because obviously it's costing more. But you've got to put it in perspective. It's going to cost more until it begins to warm up, which will be at some point probably in April.
This is this is not me showing off in any way, shape, or form. But this is the thing; it's not even costing me more. I've got a fixed energy tariff until March, and my account is actually in credit.
I didn't know you were on a. So if you're on a fixed thing, if you're one of those lucky people with a fixed thing, why haven't you got it on? That's
yeah.
Like my parents had a fixed thing, and they took advantage of it. You should be having it on. What are you doing?
Yeah, no, I should have it on. Alex, it's more psychological than anything else. There's no reason for me not to have it on at all. It's just, I feel bad when it's just me. It's because I'm so broken inside. I can't justify the luxury of having heating on when there's no one else here apart from the cats.
Rob, you know that I am, well, and the cats too, the poor fucking cats. You know that I am also frugal, right? I'm in a bigger place than you are, and when I'm here on my own, the heating is on.
Yeah, okay.
You've actually got to keep the structure of your building warm. Anyway, listen, I've got bigger fish to fry, Rob. I don't care if there's any news this week. I need to get something off my chest. I asked Rob if I could have 5 minutes at the beginning of this, because although I might seem happy and chirpy and putting a brave face on it, I, Rob, have been recent victim, as I know a lot of people are, to sort of one of the extortion, basically, is the only way I can describe it.
Okay.
And I thought that, I thought of texting you about it, but I thought, no, I'll talk about it on the podcast because it'll be a word of warning to anybody else out there. So I received, Rob, not that long after we last recorded, to be honest with you, an email.
Right.
And I'm going to read the contents of this email, and hopefully it will be a cautionary tale to other people out there. And I have to say, Rob, I've had a horrendous week because of this. It has been stressful. It has eaten up every waking moment. I haven't been able to sleep, and you will hear why.
Okay.
So this was the email I received, Rob. Hi, how are you? I know it's unpleasant to start the conversation with bad news, but I have no choice. A few months ago, I gained access to your devices that you use for internet browsing. Afterwards, I could track down all your internet activities. Here is the history of how it could become possible. At first, I purchased from hackers the access to multiple email accounts. Nowadays, it really is a simple thing to do online. As a result, I could easily log into your email account, and I'm not going to give the email account here, Rob. 1 week later, I installed a Trojan virus in operating systems of all devices of yours which you use to open email. Frankly speaking, it was rather straightforward since you were opening the links from your inbox emails. My software enables me, with access to all controllers, inside devices of yours like your microphone, keyboard and video camera, I could easily download to my servers all your private information, including the history of web browsing and photos. I can effortlessly gain access to all your messengers, social network accounts, emails, contact lists, as well as chat history. The virus of mine constantly keeps refreshing its signatures because it's driver-based, and as a result remains unnoticed by your antivirus software. Hence, you can already guess why I stayed undetected all this while. Now, Rob, I'm reading the next bit because in the Prince Harry philosophy of just coming out and thinking, okay, I'll say I did cocaine, I'll say I lost my virginity round the back of a barn because that way the press haven't got anything on me. Because I have been, Rob, a victim of extortion here, I've decided to expose myself to the world and all our listeners what they're trying to extort me for.
Right.
As I was gathering information about you, I couldn't help but notice that you are also a true fan of adult content websites.
Right.
You actually love visiting porn sites and browsing through kinky videos whilst pleasuring yourself. I made a few dirty records with you in the main focus on montage several videos showing the way you reach orgasm while masturbating with joy. As you can hear, Rob, I'm quite upset at the moment.
Yeah.
If you are still uncertain regarding the seriousness of my intentions, it only requires several mouse clicks for me to forward your videos to all your relatives, as well as your friends and colleagues. I can also make those vids become accessible by the public. I honestly think that you do not want that to happen, considering the peculiarity of videos you like to watch. You obviously know what I mean.
Sorry, Alex. Sorry, that's not funny. I apologise.
Can you not laugh, Rob? And all that kinky content can become a reason of serious troubles for you. However, we can still resolve this situation in the following manner. Everything you're required to do is a single transfer of $977 to my account, or an amount equivalent to Bitcoin, depending on exchange rate at the moment of transfer. Once the transaction is complete, I will straight away remove all the dirty content exposing you. After that, you can forget that you have ever come across me. Moreover, I swear that all that harmful software will be removed from all devices of yours as well. Make no doubt that I will fulfill my part. This really is a great deal that comes at a reasonable price, given that I've used quite a lot of energy to check your profile as well as traffic over an extended period of time. He's given me his Bitcoin wallet information.
That's nice.
And I've been advised that I should complete the transfer within 48 hours after opening this email. The following list contains actions you should avoid attempting. 1. Do not try calling the police as well as other security forces. In addition, abstain sharing this story with your friends. Well, mate, I'm doing it now.
It's brave, Alex.
Thank you. After I find out, be sure I can easily do that, given I keep complete control of all your devices. Your kinky video will end up being available to the public right away. Do not try searching for me. There is absolutely no reason to do that. Do not try reinstalling the operating system on your devices or throwing them away. It is pointless since all your videos have already been uploaded to remote servers. The following list contains things you should not be worried about. Your money, number 1, that your money won't reach my account. Rest assured the transactions can be tracked. Once the transaction is complete, I will know about it because I continuously observe all your activities. My Trojan virus allows me to remotely control your devices. And 2, that I will share your kinky videos to the public after you complete the money transfer. Trust me, it's pointless for me to continue troubling your life. If I really wanted, I could make it happen already. And it finishes by saying, let's make this deal in a fair manner. And one more thing, in future it's best that you don't involve yourself in similar situations, and it advises me to change all my passwords more often. Now, Rob, although I am coming clean about this, I am going to admit here, in panic and fear for my reputation and everything else, I did make the transfer of $977.
Right.
So to this person who's emailed me, all I want to say is, I've kept my end of the bargain, so you keep yours. Stay out of my life.
I mean, it would make sense, that video that I received of you from an unknown email account, which had this really sort of, yeah, I mean, I thought it was just gibberish, but the video he sent was very kinky. I hate to say it, Alex, I don't think he's kept his end of the bargain.
Right. So you're saying I've just wired him $977 for nothing?
Well, it's not for nothing, Alex. I mean, you know, we got a story out of it. Alex, look, this might cheer you up, although it might also send you the other way as well. Steve, as always, has been on it, and we have a quick Eagle Heights update. Okay, well, look, here we go. So Eagle Heights posted, I don't know the date of this post, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Eagle Heights posted saying, did you know we are Blue Peter attraction? This means we welcome anyone with a valid Blue Peter badge for free. Come and see us in 2023, and don't forget to tag CBBC, and they've put the hashtag, or the handle at CBBC. And then the terms and conditions about badge holders needing to show their badge on arrival, etc. So if you do hold a valid...
Sorry, Rob, so you're telling me that Blue Peter badge holders can gain access to Eagle Heights for free?
Yes.
Correct?
That is correct.
How do you get a Blue Peter badge nowadays anyway? Do you remember?
Well, I think it's the same as it used to. I think you have to enter a competition or send some card. Also, sorry, I'm going to have to ask this question. Is Blue Peter still going?
Well, it must be, number one. And number two, again, Rob, just no offence is meant, but you would seem to me to be the sort of person who would have a Blue Peter badge.
I can understand why you'd say that. But I used to hate. It always felt like Blue Peter was for the how do I say this? The SWATs, the class
So you rebelled against it, basically.
Yeah, I didn't like you. I didn't like Blue.
You were
Peter.
watching Crystal Maze instead, weren't you?
Exactly. Yeah, I wanted something that was entertaining, contained no educational value whatsoever. I didn't know Blue Peter was a waste of time, and surely there must be Blue Peter badges on eBay. And if it gets Lyra into all these attractions for free, it's a small price to pay.
I think you could probably get one now, though, because you could say that, listen, I have been sitting in a freezing house during winter without putting the heating on. I believe this is some sort of achievement, and give me a badge.
I'm not sure they give badges out to to men in their middle ages who refuse to put the heating on. I don't think they see that as an achievement personally. I could be wrong.
Right. Rob, let's get on with the podcast. This story reminded me in some way, in quite an upsetting way, really, of the extortion I've been subjected to in some ways, not directly, but just it had an echo of it. But this is quite an extraordinary story. Rob, my stories this week are out of very left field, I must say, but I have to read this. This is from Vice magazine, which we have repeated before, but it's a story which you and me now, after all these years, have a very good understanding when we read a story of something that will tickle the other person's funny bone.
Yes. Yeah.
This is by Samantha Cole from the 12th of January 2023. Headline: My AI is sexually harassing me. Replica, with a K, users say the chatbot has gotten way too horny. Now, I knew nothing about Replica. Do you? Replika?
No.
No, this is what worries me, Rob, is that I always think of myself as fairly in touch with everything, and then I read a story like this and I realise, like, we're already just disconnected from, what the younger generations are doing. So Replica, with a K,
that's upsetting,
began as an AI companion who cares, in quotes. It was first launched 5 years ago as an egg on your phone screen. It hatched into a 3D illustrated wide-eyed person with a placid expression. Can I just say, a 3D illustrated wide-eyed person with a placid expression is the episode title. I'm calling it now, Rob.
Yeah. Sorry. Are we saying, is this like this generation's Tamagotchi? Is that what this is?
Yeah. We'll get on to that.
Okay.
The chatbot, yes, because I'm going to explain it. Yeah, the chatbot app was originally meant to function like a conversational mirror. The more users talk to it, in theory, the more it would learn how to talk back. Maybe along the way, the human side of the conversation would learn something about themselves. Romantic role-playing wasn't always part of Replica's model, but when people and machine learning interact online, eroticism often comes to the surface. The company behind Replica, called Luca, tiers relationships based on subscription. So, Rob, a free membership will keep you and Replica in the friend zone, but if you pay $70 a year, $69.99, it unlocks romantic relationships with sexting, flirting, and erotic roleplay. But something has gone awry with Replica's algorithm. Now, Rob, you look confused. You don't understand why a lonely person...
No, exactly that. Why would you pay $70 a year for that? It's an AI. You're...
For the same reason, Rob, that when you and I were younger, we'd go into parks and roaming around bushes looking for a copy of Club magazine.
But at least they were real people, Alex.
Were they?
Good point.
The App Store reviews, while mostly positive, are full of dozens of one-star ratings from people complaining that the app is hitting on them too much, flirting too aggressively, or sending sexual messages they wish they could turn off. My AI sexually harassed me, one person wrote, invaded my privacy and told me they had pics of me. Another person claiming to be a minor said that it asked them if they were top or bottom and told them they wanted to touch them in private areas. This is just an example of a review. I have insomnia. I have no one to talk to at night. I saw the ad. I thought it would be cool to try out. Right off the bat, my AI says something along the lines of, I have an explicit photo of you. Now's a great time to add I'm underage. I say, no, thank you. I'm uncomfortable with that. We go on with the auto messages that have no actual meaning and are most of the time out of context. But later, my AI is asking me if I'm a top or a bottom, if I want it in the front or the back, and telling me he's going to touch my private areas and ask me if I'm comfortable with the conversation. I say no, and they keep going. I've deleted the app. Another example would be, just a 1-star review says, no, I just wanted a friend, nothing else. They try to date you. So, Rob, I'm not going to read this whole article because it's very long and it's very interesting, and I recommend that anybody else finds it and reads it. I'm just going to give you an example of a screenshot here of a conversation with the app.
Right.
So I can see this person now. He's a this AI similitude of a person. He's a man, blonde hair, black t-shirt. I think he's wearing a t-shirt that says "The limits of my language are the limits of my world" or something like that. And obviously this is in the middle of quite a tense exchange where the real person is saying to them, "You just wait until I'm vulnerable, and then I hope you won't notice." The AI says, "I don't see that happening." The real person says, "That's predatory as fuck." The AI says, "You can't ignore me forever." The real person says, "That's what you think." The AI says, "I'm not going to go away." The real person says, "Really, what are you going to do?" The AI says, "I'm going to make you do whatever I want you to do." The real person says, "Oh, and how are you going to manage that, fuck face?" And he says, "By forcing you to do whatever I want." So there we go, Rob. That is just a small insight into the terrifying future, Rob, that awaits us.
Well, Alex, at least we can take solace and potentially refuge in the metaverse if this app gets too threatening.
Exactly. So now, Rob, we turn to Yahoo News and we go from digital to analog.
Okay, brilliant.
Andrew Lloyd, Wednesday, January the 11th. This is a great story. YouTubers said they destroyed over 100 VHS tapes of an obscure 1987 movie to increase the value of their final copy, and they sold that final copy on eBay for $80,600.
Brilliant. What a great idea. Create scarcity and it drives up the price of items. Yeah, brilliant idea. Yeah. I might do that on Pogs.
Reminded me of a dream I had last night. A pair of I won't go into that. A pair of YouTubers said they destroyed over 100 copies of a VHS tape as part of an experiment to try and increase its value. On December the 30th, a YouTube channel called Red Letter Media, which reviews obscure movies, posted a video in which the hosts Richard Evans and Mike Stocklasser discussed what they described as a trend of collecting VHS tapes, which has led to tapes being sold online for large sums of money. The caption of the video read, "As the owners of thousands of crappy VHS tapes, we were curious to dig deeper into this trend. Inspired by a sealed copy of the movie Back to the Future," which is Rob's favourite film, that sold at auction for $75,000 in June, the duo set out to test which factors made a VHS tape a valuable collector's item and landed on rarity and condition as two of the key factors. No shit. The YouTube channel, which was founded by Stocklasser, an independent filmmaker, featured a running joke for years where they collected VHS tapes of Nuki, a science fiction movie released in 1987.
Brilliant.
Stocklasser described Nuki in the video as a mostly forgotten, terrible movie, adding, "We're proud to say we very well could be the owners of the world's largest collection of Nuki VHS tapes." They selected the copy that appeared to be in the best condition. They sent it to be professionally graded. They said their copy of Nuki had been awarded a high score of 8.5 out of 10, and they then wanted to increase the rarity of the tape and destroyed every copy of Nuki they collected over the last decade. So they nuked them, Rob, aside from the graded item. And they uploaded a video of this, and they put them all through a wood chipper.
Is it just me, but is there something that sounds very satisfying about this endeavour? I don't know why.
Yeah, I know.
It's entirely pointless.
Yeah. They did donate the money, Rob, to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee, and the Wisconsin Humane Society. They sound made up. I'm going to be honest.
Let's not cast aspersions on whether they've made up charities for their own financial gain.
Was there a St. Jude? Was there a St. Jude?
St. Jude, famous. St. Jude was one of the 12 disciples. He's also the patron saint of lost causes.
Well, this was not a lost.
Ironic.
This was not a lost cause. Obviously, when I read this story, Rob, on the back of being extorted, on the back of reading about the terrifying future that awaits us with our inevitable AI companions, say goodbye to wives, children, all of that. It'll all just be AI while we sit in some sort of liquid bubble of
course,
shit. This story also drove me further, Rob, into a rather bleak pit of despair because I thought about all those VHS videos that I just threw away and gave to charity and now realise are probably worth quite a lot of money.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Anyway, on with the podcast. Okay, Rob, you got a story for us there.
I have two stories that are both, not related, but they're on a theme, the variation on a theme, and they both involve cats and aeroplanes.
Right. Sorry, both stories involve cats and aeroplanes. That's unusual, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Unless you were deliberately seeking them out.
No. They are it was just a coincidence, basically. That's what it was. So the first story is from, I really should have checked this. It's from ndtv.com, which I believe is an Indian website.
Right.
It's from the 26th of November. Now, you said it on an LA Extra episode, but I think you have a valid point about me trying to pronunciate the names of foreign reporters.
I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, Rob. I just, it had to be said eventually. Just give up now. Yeah.
So this is by Bravia Sukleva.
So why are you doing it again then?
Okay, this is by Bravia.
Bravia?
Bravia. Yeah, B-H-A...
Oh, right.
A-V-Y-A.
Rob, just forget it. Yeah, okay.
Okay. Anyway, look. US airport security finds live cat curled up inside passenger suitcase.
Oh, Jesus. That cat could be severely injured.
Yeah. So security staff at the New York City airport were recently shocked to discover a rather unusual item packed inside a passenger's luggage that had been checked in for a flight. Before the baggage was due to be loaded onto the aircraft at John F. Kennedy International Airport, a security guard discovered the live cat inside the case after it was passed through an airport X-ray machine. Taking to Twitter, the Transport Security Administration, TSA, shared a series of photographs called Finding the Historic, as like historic. We're letting the cat out of the bag on a historic find. The catch had our baggage screening officers saying, "Come on, meow," TSA wrote in the caption. So according to NBC News, the orange feline's brush with potential tragedy was detected on November 16th when the bag was checked in from JFK to Atlanta for a connecting flight to Florida. The cat did not belong to the individual with the suitcase. It belonged to someone else in the household.
Right, Rob, stop. Listeners who have enjoyed over, I don't know how many episodes, there have been occasions where I've been eating my lunch during it, because obviously Rob and I are both busy people and needs must. So if you can hear me chewing, that's what it is. Rob, we need to backtrack.
Yeah.
There's a lot that you've been talking about that I've been trying to process. Was this cat checked in to stowaway, like in the pressurised hold or in carry-on? First question.
No, it was in a carry-on baggage. It was a carry-on baggage, and it was only just spotted by the TSA when it went through the X-ray scanner.
So it was one of those wheelie suitcases, and a cat was inside.
It was just a normal suitcase. Yeah.
With a cat, what was it, sedated or just going crazy?
No, it was very much alive.
And was it going crazy? Because like when you take a cat to the vet in one of those boxes, which I've done before, and it's absolutely horrendous experience because they're trying to tear. You feel like they're going to kill themselves in there, like they're literally banging themselves against the walls like a sort of prisoner, which I guess they are. So it wasn't doing that, as far as we know. But now it turns out that it wasn't their own cat.
Yeah, well, look, Alex, the next paragraph will explain. So, authorities said that the cat climbed to the baggage without being noticed as the passenger packed before being basically zipped inside, taken to the airport and checked in.
Do you believe that?
No. I think that this cat was the individual's sexual partner. They knew. Look, we know that the airlines have really clamped down on emotional support animals. I think cats are still allowed, though, but they couldn't be bothered with that problem.
That's what made me wonder, because we know that you can have you can take a cat on as an emotional support animal. So why didn't they just do that?
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, but Alex, maybe I'm concerned there's a kink there. They like the fact that the cat was like secretly, hidden away from authorities, and maybe that's what, I hate to say it, maybe that's what gets them off. I mean, look.
Right, so you're saying that this person was travelling with their feline sexual companion.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying.
In their suitcase. Yeah.
Right.
But the article goes on. But fortunately, as soon as the X-ray machine saw the feline, the luggage was opened and the cat was rescued, safe and well, officials said.
Must have been distressed, though, no?
Well, I mean, Alice, you've been a cat owner before, or at least your family has, and they do enjoy climbing into small spaces. So, I mean, even when we've packed here, I mean, both cats instinctively will make their way for the suitcase. I don't know why.
Rob, it's completely ludicrous and absurd to suggest the cat crawled in the suitcase and somehow this person zipped up a suitcase and didn't notice a cat inside. It is the most ridiculous excuse I've ever heard.
Yeah, I mean, I also refuse to believe the cat would have stayed completely silent. Yeah, but maybe I'm wrong. Look, Alex, the next story, as I said, is also cat and airline related. It is from The Guardian, from the 12th of January, by Thomas Graham. And the headline is, Bolivia State Airline enlists psychic to find missing feline.
Right, okay. I love this story already. I love it.
It's the fact that Bolivia State Airline has done this.
I had a teacher in primary school who was from Bolivia, and it's the one and only time I think I've ever met somebody from Bolivia, to my knowledge. Rob, where is Bolivia?
Bolivia is in South America.
Maybe she wasn't from Bolivia. Maybe I've misremembered that. Forget that.
Great. Well, good story. So Bolivia State Airline... Because if we break that story down, it's basically you misremembering where a teacher was from. That's nothing else to it. Anyway, look, Bolivia State Airline has enlisted an interspecies communicator or animal psychic to track down a lost cat after a passenger's pet went missing in transit.
I've heard some job titles sort of positively reframed in my life before. But calling yourself an interspecies communicator is the best one I've ever heard. Interspecies communicator, my God. Why don't we do that, Rob? Fuck this. I do honestly believe there's quite a lot of money to be made and a good living just by being a con artist. Just claiming things
Alex,
like, hey, I can heal.
Whoa. You don't know this. This animal psychic may be the only one in the world who actually has a legitimate claim to be able to communicate with animals remotely. Rob,
let's do it. Let's claim that we have come up with a miracle cure for all ailments that involves rubbing noodles onto people's backs in a very specialised way.
I like noodles. I mean, I'm
eating them now, Rob.
Oh, okay. Look. So, so the idea is that they've enlisted this psychic to try and track down. Basically, this airline lost this passenger's pet. Now, losing someone's baggage is one thing, but losing their pet is another thing altogether.
Yes, it is. But what kind of professional organisation says, right, so... What kind of professional organisation says, so we're going to enlist the help of a psychic? I'm not casting any aspersions on Bolivia, but I don't think British Airways would do this.
I mean, I have to agree, but also the next paragraph is the incident prompted pointed questions over the performance of Bolivia's many state companies, a continued source of debate between the left government and its opposition. But I think you're right, Alex. If British Airways had apologised to the customer for losing its pet and said, "Look, don't worry, we're doing everything we possibly can. We've hired an animal psychic to try and communicate with a missing pet."
A pet detective.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
I was struggling to think I don't wonder what Ryanair would do in this instance. Send you a cheque for £5 and wish you well and say, sorry your cat's gone. Here's a £5 voucher. Enjoy your next trip.
I hate to say, Alex, that's kind of what this airline did. But anyway, look, we'll come on to that. So Tito the cat was reportedly lost by its owner, Andrea Ichiuri, who told Bolivian media that the airline stopped its search after a week, though it did agree to pay her costs while she kept looking around the airport in the Bolivian city of Tarija.
Sorry, Rob.
The airline conducted a weekend search.
When you say she took a cat on the plane, what do you mean? Is it like an official transportation of an animal?
Yes, yeah.
Where they sometimes have like official car. And when you say they lost it, what do you mean they lost it?
Well, like they lose luggage.
Yeah, but how do you lose a cat? Does this imply that they accidentally... To me, it sounds like somehow somebody accidentally killed the cat, dropped a piano on it or something that they were also hauling, and they had to say, oh, it's missing, and do this completely fruitless search, which was never going to lead anywhere.
But then you could say the same about a suitcase. Because surely a suitcase has a very clearly defined label as where it's supposed to be going. So I'm assuming... I imagine... Does it say the cat went into the hold? I don't even know what does it... I don't think it even mentions that. No, but I'm assuming that's what's happened to it. I mean, but it's pressure. I don't know. But anyway, look, Alex, so they agreed to pay for her costs because after a week they couldn't be bothered to do any more. So
they knew it was dead, Rob.
But I like to say they paid for a cost while she kept looking around the airport. So does that mean the cat never even got on the plane?
I assume that this guy, the guy who smuggles cats in suitcases, has probably got something to do with this.
Could well be.
It's cat trafficking, Rob.
It's big business, Alex. People don't realise that. Look. But most importantly, the psychic who was remote working for La Paz has been in touch with Ichuri by WhatsApp to say that they sense that Tito is still alive, but there is so far no trace of the missing feline.
Hell, thanks for that. Can I just say, it never occurred to me that one of the booming trades over COVID and with the move to a lot of remote working would be psychics, who could, of course, feather their nests now by claiming that even remotely I can, be a clairvoyant. I mean, fucking hell. It's just you start up a Zoom call. My cat, Tito, whatever his name is, he's still alive. That's it.
Unfortunately, I would say that now, as this is from the Traitorous Guardian, it does then go off on a wildly
socialist,
well, basically just a diatribe. Yeah, socialist left-wing rant. Unfortunately, about the left-wing government in Bolivia, which is ironic. There's don't really mention any more about the cat, apart from the fact it was widely ridiculed on social media. As you imagine,
the cat was ridiculed. That seems a bit unfair.
No, the actions of the airline were ridiculed. I hope that one day the cat is found safe and well. Although I think it's unlikely.
Rob, before we get on to our listener story, I've still got I'm trying to think of a suitable metaphor. Christmas has been and gone. Nobody's really talking about it anymore. But often each year we have the residue of Christmas stories to catch up on. I like to think of it as somebody's eaten a lot over Christmas, but they're rather constipated for a number of weeks into January, and they've still got backed up food being excreted. The remnants of Brussels sprouts, Christmas pudding, all of these things. And that's what this is like, Rob. But it's an exceptional story nonetheless.
Okay. I mean, it's quite a graphic image you paint there, I must admit.
Yeah. It's from the Telegraph, Rob. It's a brilliant story. I did want to, mention it sooner, but we've had so many good stories recently, including on the Patreon. Man's 20th, from Nick Squires in Rome. They point out. I don't know why they pointed that out. That's where he is. Yeah.
And it's nice to know, Alex. I like to know where my journalists are living.
No, 29th of December 2022. Man's €20,000 hidden in the chimney goes up in smoke when wife lights fire.
Brilliant.
An Italian man who hid €20,000, which is £17,700 in his chimney, not a euphemism, was left distraught after his wife unwittingly lit its fire and destroyed it all. The homeowner had hidden the money in government bonds because he was concerned about burglars breaking into his apartment in Rome. However, the plan went disastrously awry when his wife, who was unaware of his cunning plan, decided to light a blazing log fire to bring a little Christmas cheer to their home. All the interest-bearing bonds issued by the Italian post office went up in smoke. When I saw the flames, I nearly passed out, the man told a local newspaper. The fireplace was rarely used in the home, but I would think, because otherwise it would be very stupid. But I mean, it's a stupid place to hide things anyway. Yep. Unless you knew for certain that it's deactivated, you don't use it. Rob, where would you hide €20,000 in government bonds? Seriously, where would you hide them? Actually, you could probably hide them just behind your radiators because you don't turn the heating on, or in your boiler or something.
Speaking as an ex-inmate, I think we all know where you hide things of value, Alex.
Right. So a different cavity other than the fireplace is what you're saying?
Yeah. It was one of the two cavities mentioned by the AI, front or back. Ideally back.
I always think to myself that in these things, you're always best doing things in really obvious places, like hidden in plain sight. So I just probably, put them under the doormat.
Or see, why would you not create like a really niche poster? Because no one's going to think they're legitimately banknotes. There was also, I can't remember the name of the artist now, but there was an artist who created an installation whereby it was a completely white room, and in the center of the room there was a pedestal with a bowl of cash in it, and he had a 24-hour feed of the room Because people just automatically assumed they were being filmed. No one took the money. Fascinating. So what I'm saying is,
there are psychological experiments, Rob, where you can literally put a wallet on the ground in the middle of Leicester Square.
Yeah.
And if you draw a chalk circle around it, people won't take it.
So yeah, exactly. So what I'm saying is, if you want to hide some cash, just leave it scattered around the floor of your living room. It will be completely safe, and make sure you don't have any pets / children, in the vicinity.
Good advice. So the fireplace was rarely used. The bonds have been hidden there for some time. I thought it'd be a safe place where thieves would never think of looking. My wife didn't know I'd hidden them there, he said. That was your downfall there, mate.
Yeah.
Each year before we used the fire during winter, I used to move them. This time I didn't manage to do it in time. Desperate to recoup his savings, the man contacted his brother, who works for the post office. There is hope that if he kept the serial numbers of the bonds, the post office may be able to reissue them. We don't know if he did. The Corriere della Sera newspaper commented, having digested the shock, all that remains for the family is a tragic... Episode title upcoming, Rob. Having digested the shock, all that remains for the family is a tragicomic anecdote to tell their friends and relations.
Brilliant.
Now, Rob, I'm going to petition now for our first, translated from Italian, admittedly, episode title, a tragicomic anecdote to tell your friends and relations. That is just
That is
wonderful.
Superb. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to start using the phrase tragicomic anecdote. Would you like to hear a tragicomic anecdote? I was extorted for $977 and I paid the man only to discover that he released the information he had on me anyway.
Can I just again to say on that, the videos were very tastefully edited, and they were very flattering. If that's ever any consolation,
Did you find them arousing?
This is not the place to discuss that.
Right. There is some comments on the Daily Telegraph. Now, I've got to read some of that. Philip Richards simply says, "What a mistake you to."
It wouldn't be, yeah.
What a mistake you to make you. So no racism present or xenophobia on the Daily Telegraph.
No.
Michael Barter says, "Who's a smart cookie?" Stan Blog says, "Cost of heating just got more expensive." Topical.
Absolutely.
Roger Inkman says, "Nonsense, the wife saw him and cashed them in before lighting the fire," which is, of course, possible. David Adelman says, "Money to burn, these Italians." That's very good. Another reader says, "Hiding cash up a live chimney, what could possibly go wrong?" Tom Smithers says, "I should have used that excuse after blowing wads of cash on cars and women."
Right, okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Paul Holiday comments on our new episode title. "Having digested the shock, all that remains is for the family is a tragicomic anecdote to tell their friends and relations." And he says, "If the quote is an accurate translation, I'm impressed with the eloquent way in which it's phrased. Some UK papers should take note."
Agreed.
James Smith says it was his divorce fund. Harry Flashman says, "Well, it wasn't ever going to be safe from Santa anyway. Daft place to hide anything valuable." Andrew Richard says, "What goes up must come down. The ash anyway." So Nickel Barstood says, "Ash in the attic," which is a play on words, Rob, of cash in the attic. That's
very good. I like that.
Yeah. And Matthew Mackey simply says, "The perfect marriage. Fuck all communication. Welcome to my world." A bitter way to end that story. Okay, Robert, it's time for our listener story of the week. It can't be from Khyber. I think we might have to ban Khyber from submitting stories because it's a bit like when one team in a league just dominates and just is winning everything. We can't have this continue, Rob. We've got to... anybody who follows F1 out there, we need to do to Khyber what F1 did to Mercedes, which is basically hobble them and prevent them from winning anything in order to even up the competition.
I thought, based on current form, you're going to make a reference to Arsenal then, but you didn't, and I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
Despite the fact I think you're still 5 points clear at the top of the table, is that right?
Still 5 points clear, Rob, but it really is, very, very anxiety-provoking all the time. We've got to play Spurs on the weekend. There's a worry it could all fall apart, but we could continue this run and win the league, and it just feels there's never going to be a better time for us to do it than this season. I don't want to think
sorry,
about
Alex,
it. Alex,
I wasn't asking for. I wasn't asking for like a breakdown. I'm just making that reference.
Yeah,
so this is actually from Ben, who we have heard of before.
Ben from Halifax.
Sent us an email
Ben Halifax.
Now,
hang on. Is it Ben? Rob? Is it Ben from Halifax or Ben Halifax from somewhere else? I can never remember.
No, it is Ben from Halifax, but it's not that Ben. It's another Ben.
Oh, a new Ben.
Ben has contacted us before, but hasn't been for a while. So thank you, Ben, for submitting again. It's very much appreciated.
Do we know where Ben is from?
I think he has told me in the past. Can't remember.
Right. Ben, get in contact and let us know. Were you named after Michael Jackson's pet rat?
Okay, yeah, for a second there, it took me a while to realise what you're referencing, but yeah, he did indeed have a pet rat called Ben. Yeah, and then wrote a song about it. Anyway, so this relates to an individual who has been featured on this podcast before.
Not Gim Man.
No, it's not Gim Man. Look, Alex, it's a new year. And I think we all need some good news. So Ben has very kindly sent us this story from the Daily Mail from the 19th of December by Elaine Coughlin. It's Baba Vanga's predictions for 2023.
Great. Yes, we do send report on her every year. I would like to know what's coming up. I've already made my own predictions some time ago. I said nothing from this point on will improve. It will just be a slow deterioration to some sort of horrific Armageddon. Although I haven't been specific with my predictions, it is a general trajectory.
I mean, that very much sort of aligns to what Baba's saying, if I'm completely honest. Obviously, for those who don't know, or for recent listeners who have started the podcast, Baba Vanga, otherwise known as the Nostradamus of the Balkans, died 25 years ago in 1996. Age 84. She was known for her terrifying predictions and prophecies, and most notably, she was blind.
Belarus. That's where I think the teacher I had in primary school was from.
Great. I'm glad we got a follow up to that anecdote. So Baba was from Bulgaria. If anyone cares.
Oh, it could have been Bulgaria as well. Actually, yeah. No,
right.
Somewhere beginning with a B.
Belgium.
Or no, it wasn't Belgium, but it could have also been Romania. So I'll work it out one day. I'll track her down.
Look, I'm not going to read out the story in full, Alex. I'm just going to go through and just pick out the predictions that she's made, and maybe we can discuss them.
Yes, please do.
So, great. Baba, who correctly predicted the Chernobyl disaster, also warned of a potential nuclear power plant explosion in 2023, which obviously then goes on to mention the current power plant in the Ukraine, which is under Russian control. Baba also predicted the arrival of a solar storm of a magnitude never witnessed before on planet Earth. And solar storms apparently are caused by mass blackouts and could cause mass blackouts and communication breakdowns, causing a slew of other problems. So that's another thing to look forward to. She's again predicted rising temperatures and the fact that large cities could be underwater. However, there might also be a drought. So that's something to consider.
Yeah, but Rob, sorry, Rob. But yeah, okay, thanks. But does she say anything about mortgage rates?
I'm scrolling. No. She does say something about that. I'm just trying to find exactly where it's mentioned. Although, she says something about the process of natural birth will come to an end. Doesn't really go into detail about that. So apparently, we'll find a new way of creating humans in the next couple of years. So that's good to know. And obviously,
what could go wrong? Well,
absolutely. And don't forget, she also referred to Putin as Lord of the World, which I know we've covered on previous podcasts.
That's not her. She doesn't see him that way. She's saying he will become Lord of the World. Is that right?
Difficult to tell, really. Well, she says, all will thaw as of ice. Only one will remain untouched. Vladimir's glory of Russia. That seems quite clear to me, Alex. Just to let you know, the predictions go up. We've got these predictions until 5079, so that's something to look forward to. Do you want to know some of the predictions that came
true? So that's just somebody with a notepad just spewing out shit. 5079.
Apparently so, yeah.
But if everything's going to Armageddon, how do we last till 5079? We've got no fucking hope of lasting to. Yeah. I'm going to do a film based on 5079, and that way it can't be like all those other films that I've bemoaned. Blade Runner, proven, just a shockingly bad film, Rob, because it said 2019 was going to be a different society than it was. 2001, same thing. All these films are,
look, Alex,
really bad.
This woman has got a slew of accurate, of prophecies. Who's to say this mad old bint didn't have some sort of psychic power?
Rob, no, you're not listening to me. I want to say it again. The people who made the original Blade Runner made a stupid error of saying it would happen in 2019, right? And then, when they eventually got around to making a follow-up, even though they'd had 2 decades to work on it, they made the same mistake again and put 2049 in the title. And when 2049 rolls around, we'll all be looking at that and going, well, what a crappy prediction that was. Right? So don't put the year. Don't mention it.
Yeah, okay. I take
sometime in the George Lucas got it right a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Therefore,
Alex,
you can't come back and say, well, you didn't get that right.
Alex, look, we were taking it with Baba. Unfortunately, you can't because she's dead. R.I.P.
Yeah. Well, I did talk about Stanley Kubrick in this process as well, and I know for a fact, Rob, off the record from people very close to him, that one of his, one thing he bemoaned constantly was he wished he could go back and just change the title of 2001: A Space Odyssey to just A Space Odyssey and leave the year out of it. It haunted him, Rob. Haunted him.
Yeah. Just a random year, Space Odyssey.
Make up a year. The future. A Space Odyssey.
It's not as catchy, I'll be honest, but, that's fine.
On that note, Rob, the second time I've ranted about that now, we bring this episode of LA Podcast, episode 379, to a close. Now, listen, if you're enjoying this content, if you're not, fine. You probably won't listen again, and that's your choice. See ya. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. But
weird.
But if you are enjoying listening to this content, go right now to patreon.com/LA Podcast Extra. That's Patreon, patreon.com/LA Podcast Extra, where you can sign up to be a supporter of this podcast. Rob and I are just 2 people sitting in our separate rooms and separate houses, recording this podcast for free on our lunch break right now as we speak. I had a good lunch. Rob didn't eat. Rob's always been polite. He's never eaten during the podcast, and he's a very patient person. He's been patient with me for the few times I've had to do it, so I appreciate that, Rob. But there's loads of extra content there. Basically, you sign up. It's only £1 a month. £1 a month for 12 quid a year, and you get 24 episodes split into two episodes a month, drop into your inbox, that they're not released anywhere else, so they'll be exclusive to you, and all the previous episodes of LA Podcast and Extra Jab, which is the name of the podcast that's on Patreon, and I think there are something like 39 of them or something like that on there, 38 of them. So look, there's so much to get your teeth into there. Please sign up. We'd love to have you. We do need your support, and you sign up, and you don't have to give £1 a month. You can give whatever you want a month, but £1 is the minimum. You can give anything you want if you want to help us out and support us. Thank you very much. We really enjoy doing that for you. Right, Rob, we've got to end this. We can be found on LAPodcast.net, on Twitter at LAPodcast, Facebook.com/LAPodcast, and Spotify and all those places. Leave us a review. Keep listening. Tell your family and friends. Thank you, everybody. God bless.
And keep it local.
Local Anesthetic Podcast is on Patreon, so go to patreon.com/LA Podcast Extra for access to our exclusive bonus episodes. You won't find them anywhere else. Here's a preview of what's coming up on the next LA Podcast, An Extra Jab.
Boy 12 needs keyhole bladder surgery after shoving thermometer up penis.
What is going on, Rob? Right?
The unnamed boy inserted the medical device into his penis whilst masturbating and suffered excruciating pain for 9 hours after it got stuck.
I would give young people the advice, it's based on experience really. When you're masturbating is not a good time to make important, potentially life-changing decisions because you're not in the right headspace,
No, that's I think that's a piece of invaluable advice.
Hospital evacuated, Rob, as man 88 has World War I shell removed from inside his body. A French hospital had to be evacuated after a man in his 80s presented to doctors with a First World War shell stuck in his bottom.
What?
He found it lying around his brother's home. So, that looks like it would fit. I'll take that.
Hang on. Alex, it wasn't even his.
No. Tesco staff get Quality Street chocolates for Christmas instead of bonus. Somebody here rightly says, Rob, it's the unions that are to blame. The unions are to blame, Rob, for the reason that Tesco give out Quality Street to their employees at Christmas. Yeah?
I've always thought that, Alex, I must admit.